Hello， 大家好，我是 Teacher Lydia， 欢迎来到国际聊天室。Hey everyone, I'm Teacher Lydia. You're listening to International Talk. 今天很开心可以和来自法国的 Sarah 聊聊天，带着一个轻微的法国腔，我好喜欢听她说话。今天要来和她聊聊巴黎的生活，法国人的刻板印象，还有她在台湾和韩国的经验，是不是很精彩呢？ Today I had the pleasure of chatting with Sarah, who's from France. With a subtle French accent, I love hearing her talk. Today we'll be talking about life in Paris, French stereotypes, and her experiences in Korea and Taiwan. With so much to talk about, let's get started. Thank you, Sarah, so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to talk to you. I feel like there's so much I'm going to learn today. So the first question, let's tell everyone, where are you from?
I'm from France.
Where in France are you from?
Paris.
Ooh, yeah. The famous, beautiful Paris.
Yes.
Something we'll definitely talk about later. And what other countries have you lived in?
I've lived in Korea and in Taiwan,
Okay.
for a long period.
How long did you live in Korea for?
A bit more than a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so quite a while, actually.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And you've done a lot of traveling in between, right? In Asia.
Yeah, I've traveled to a lot of countries in Asia.
What was your favorite country in Asia that you didn't live in?
Well, before Taiwan, it was Taiwan. That's why I came back here to live.
Mm-hmm. Other than Taiwan, any other countries that you really liked?
I really like Thailand.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I really like Thailand.
I always wanted to go to Thailand. I still haven't been.
It's so beautiful.
Did you prefer the city or the more beach area?
I didn't go to the beach area. I didn't go to
okay.
the south of Thailand. I only did the north, where there's all of the old temples or more cultural things to see, and it was gorgeous. I really enjoyed. But I want to go back to try the beaches.
Yeah. I feel like from what I've heard about Thailand, there's two kinds of people. There's one type that's I love the city and I don't even need to go to the beach. I just love the city. And there's another type that's I only go for the beaches. So I feel like both are definitely worth seeing.
Yeah, totally.
So, cool. And which languages do you speak?
Quite fluently, I would say 3, Korean, French, and English. But I did learn, I have some basics in German, Japanese, and Chinese.
Oh, wow.
Although my Chinese is really, really bad. But only
okay.
Basics, yeah.
You have time to learn now that you're here.
Yeah.
So did you learn Korean in Korea?
I learned it in university.
Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what did you study in university?
So I had 2 majors. I did 2 masters, one in law and one in Korean studies.
Cool.
Yeah, I studied quite a long time.
What made you choose law and Korean studies?
Because I wanted to become a legal translator, so that's why I specialized in law. Yeah, so that it would help me to translate legal stuff, because otherwise I don't think I would have been able to do that. So that's why after my Korean studies, I decided that I should learn some more general and technical stuff, and that's why I ended up studying law. Yeah.
Oh, so you did Korean studies first, and then law.
Yes.
Cool. That's really interesting, and I feel like that's a really interesting mix, but it kind of makes sense for what you said you want to do. So that's really interesting. And when did you decide that you wanted to do translating?
Well, so when I was young, I really loved Asia, and I've always dreamt of living outside France. And so actually the first job I wanted to have was being a translator. I really wanted to be a translator since I was in high school. So I don't know.
It's always been your dream, basically.
Yeah, it has always been my dream.
That's amazing. It's funny because I have so many friends who had a dream in high school, but so many people end up doing something different. It's actually really rare to see someone who continues the path that they originally wanted in high school. Yeah, but
I did change my mind at some point. I was okay, should I be a lawyer? But then I just ended up doing what I wanted to do originally.
Okay.
But I did I wasn't sure. At some point I had some doubts.
Is that what you do in Taiwan now, translation?
Yes, I work remotely from France, and because I'm more free to go wherever I want. I wanted to like try the experience of living in Taiwan.
And what are you translating at the moment?
Mainly comic books.
That's so cool.
Yes.
That sounds really fun.
It's fun. It's really fun.
Is it hard?
Sometimes it's hard. Like it's literature, so sometimes it's very hard to like when you're not an author yourself, it's really hard to make it pretty like it's pretty in Korean.
And I guess also, do you ever find that probably it's easier for you as a translator, but sometimes I find like there are some words, even like for me, English and Chinese, I speak both natively, but there are some words that I just cannot translate, or there are some words where I just can't find the same meaning.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you have to change the like sentence completely because you can't translate it in French. I know. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, and what do you do in your free time here in Taiwan?
So because I arrived during the COVID like outbreak, I've mainly like just been biking the whole, like every time I finish my work I go biking around like the riverside, usually Dadaocheng, you know, like the Dadaocheng riverside.
It's a nice area.
It's so pretty. So that's what I do for like when I'm alone. Otherwise I will just hang out with friends.
Is it not too hot?
It is hot. I try to go like in the evening. Yeah, I tried once in the afternoon and I had like a big headache in the night.
Like heat stroke.
Yeah, exactly.
I get heat stroke here all the time. It's so hot.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't drink enough water.
Oh, that's probably why.
Yeah, and then it's so hot, and when especially the first year I came to Taiwan, I really wasn't used to how hot it was, and so I got heat stroke like every month or something. It was crazy. And then slowly I think my body started to adjust, and I would drink more water and, you know, remind myself to like stay cool or not to go from like super hot to super cold, because that also can cause heat stroke if you're constantly like sweating and then AC and then首先我问 Sarah 她来自哪里，她说她来自法国，而且是巴黎。我说之后我们一定会聊到这件事情。除了巴黎，她也住过韩国还有台湾，那她在韩国住了超过1年，所以也有很多精彩的故事可以跟大家分享。但是她也去过亚洲很多的国家去旅游。我问她说，除了她住过的国家以外，她有没有特别喜欢哪一个国家？她说来台湾之前她一定会说台湾。我请她再选一个国家，她说她会选泰国，她觉得泰国非常美。我问她说她是喜欢泰国的海边还是城市，她说她其实是去北边，所以是比较多庙啊，比较文化的一些地方。她说她觉得那些风景都非常漂亮，但是她也想要去体验看看泰国的海边。接下来我问她会哪些语言，她说很流利的话她会3种语言，法文、英文还有韩文。但是如果只要讲说一些基本的语言的话，她会讲德文、日文还有中文，但是她说她的中文没有很好。我说没关系，你现在到了台湾你就可以多练习。大学的时候呢，她其实有读过2个不同的科系。她一开始是读韩文，那后来她决定读法律，她想要做法律领域的翻译师 legal translator， 所以她觉得她一定要读一点法律，去更了解她要翻译的这些东西。我问她说她当初怎么会想要选这2个科系呢？因为毕竟这2个科系差很多，一个法律，一个语言韩文系。她说她从小就很喜欢亚洲，她一直有个梦想，就是很想要住在法国以外的国家，特别是亚洲。所以她说她高中的时候就在想她可以当翻译人员，就可以去各个国家去旅游。我说我觉得很佩服她，因为其实有很多人有高中的时候有一个梦想，但是长大后好像就很难真的实现，但她真的实现了她的梦想，所以我觉得很棒。她说她中途其实也是有些地方也有犹豫了一下，还是应该要去当律师之类的，但后来她还是决定做翻译人员。那他现在在台湾其实就是在做翻译，但是他的工作室都在线上，所以他可以自己决定他想要去哪里，所以他才会决定来台湾体验一下台湾，因为他以前来旅游的时候就非常喜欢台湾。我问他现在在翻译什么样的文件，他说他现在在翻译漫画，是不是很特别？我问他说翻译漫画会不会很难，他说他觉得比较难，是因为他算是文学，所以有些东西除了它的意思要对以外，你要有一个比较文学的方法去写， 有点像是作者的那种感觉，所以他觉得这个对他来讲比较困难一点，但是他也觉得很有趣。我跟他说，就算我这种英文、中文都是母语的人，有时候我还是会遇到一些状况，就是有一些字真的没有办法翻译成另外一个语言。我问他说他有没有遇到，他说一定有，他说真的是有一些单字或是有一些说法其他语言是没有的。那当他遇到这种状况的时候呢，他就是会直接重新写一个新的句子，代表一样的意思，但是可能用不同的方法去解决。最后我问他说他来台湾之后有哪些休闲娱乐，他说因为他来的时候刚好是疫情比较严重的时候，所以因为有很多限制，他就只能去骑脚踏车。但他觉得这边有很多很美的地方可以去骑脚踏车，像是大稻埕啊，或是在河边，所以他很常会去骑脚踏车。那除了这个以外，就是跟朋友一起出去走走啊，出去玩等等。我跟他说，但是在外面不会觉得很热吗？特别是他那时候来是夏天，他一开始有试着白天去骑脚踏车，但他就觉得头很容易痛。我就说要小心中暑，因为台湾真的很容易中暑。像我刚来台湾的时候，真的很常中暑，因为不习惯，身体不习惯那么热，再加上可能水喝不够，所以我就有提醒他要多喝水，才不会中暑。Heat stroke 中暑。听完了这些背景，有没有觉得很多问题想问 Sarah？ 那我们就继续听访谈咯。
So now that everyone knows a little bit more about you, the first question I want to ask you is about France. So you're my first French guest, and I actually do get a lot of questions about France, because so many people see it on TV, especially like about Paris as well, and they have all these like ideas about France. So which stereotypes about French people are true and which ones are not true?
Well, the first stereotypes, because I googled it because I wasn't sure. The first stereotype was people like French people always wear berets. That's not true.
They don't wear the
we don't wear the hat. Some people do, like maybe like fashionable people, but French people don't really wear the hat.
Okay.
The other one was like holding the baguette, you know. That's true.
That's true.
Yeah, that's totally true. I will hold my baguette every day to eat bread.
The bread in France is amazing.
Yeah.
So you must miss that, right?
I do.
French bread.
I do miss bread.
The best I've ever had was in France.
Yeah. There's also like this stereotype of people, like French people always drinking wine. That's also true.
Okay.
This one's true.
So the wine and the baguette is true.
That's true. Yeah. And there's also one about French people being rude. It's not really true. I feel like French people are more like just very frank. Like we're not afraid of telling people, like strangers, how we feel. Like if we feel that the stranger is rude or something, we would tell him. I think that's like, but for some foreigners, it's not. They're not used to, you know, being like talk like that. Yeah, like being that direct. But I think like we're very direct. But we also do have these politeness rules. Kind of like. When you go into a shop or you know you go shopping, you always say hello, thank you. Or if you meet someone, like even if you never met him, we would say hello.
Like a stranger?
Yeah, like if I go into an elevator with strangers, I would say hello.
Oh, I feel like that's also in America they do that as well, I think.
Yes.
But not every country. Definitely not in Taiwan.
In
Taiwan we're just like, don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. But I think it's true that Europeans in general are very direct. And I think that's something that is very strange for Asians because they're used to being like super polite, like super like, oh, I can't offend anyone. I can't say the wrong thing.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the opposite in France. We're not afraid of offending people.
So
we would talk our mind. We would say, no, I don't like you. And that's how we do. So
direct, you know, that you don't have any misunderstandings.
Yeah, we don't.
That's true. And what is it really like living in Paris? Also because like last year, you know, that Netflix show came out, Emily in Paris, and so many people were like, oh my god, is Paris really like that? So tell us the truth.
The truth about Paris. So living in Paris is taking the stinky MRT, you know, like very small MRT where you're like stuck to like you're close to everybody and walking outside without high heels, because if you don't want to fall, you don't wear high heels like Emily in Paris
because of the roads, right?
Yeah, like it's how does
like stones.
Pavés. Yeah,
it's not like a smooth pavement. It's like blocks of stones.
Yeah, you can walk on this with high heels for sure. It's also like a very cultural like city. There's a lot of things to see, like expositions or museums. Also drinking like on the terrace. That's really like Parisian, to just after work or after like school you would like meet your friends or your colleagues and just drink like outside a cafe, like in the terrace.
So that is the same as on TV.
That's true, yeah. This part was true.
But I think that's something that we don't see, not really in Taiwan very much. I think that's one thing that people are really jealous about, because I think it just looks so nice to be able to just, I don't know, sit outside and enjoy a glass of wine and, you know, like people watch, and just seems so like, I don't know, there's something so nice about it.
Yeah, I do miss this. But you have other stuff.
That's true.
You do have other stuff.
So France is known for its good food. It's, you know, French cuisine. Do you think that's true?
Yes. 1,000% true.
What do you think is special about French food?
I would say the variety of pastry, bread, the fact that you know we have courses when we eat. We would eat like a cold meal first, like small meal, and then like hot meal, and then a dessert, and cheeses, so many cheeses.
Is that like every single dinner? Like every dinner you have to have all the courses?
Yeah, usually.
Every time?
Yeah, every time.
Isn't that like a lot of work to prepare?
It's so much work to prepare and it takes so long to eat.
How many courses are there?
Like I would say the smallest is 3.
Okay.
Yeah, the entrees and then the main meal and then the dessert. But sometimes it can be more, like if it's like during like Christmas, we would have much more. We would have like the cheese part.
So does that mean if I'm hosting a dinner for French people and I don't prepare a starter and dessert, what would happen?
Nothing.
They would be shocked though, right?
No,
they'd be like, where's my starter?
I mean, like when you're a student, you don't like, and you live on your own, you won't like, it takes so much time. But when you go to a restaurant, probably you will at least have 2 courses, at least a dessert. We like finishing our meal with something sweet. So if you're hosting like French person, at least have a dessert. That's the only like advice I can tell you. Yeah.
And I think also then if you're going to a French person's house for dinner, make sure your stomach is empty. Otherwise you're not going to be able to fit all the courses.
That's true.
So that's so exciting. Now I just want to only have French friends. I can always have dessert. I love dessert. Dessert's the best course.
Yeah. Like, you know, like when we were little in France, like our parents would threaten us, like if we don't finish the meal, we won't have dessert.
Right, it's like such a big thing.
It's the best part of the meal.
That's a good way actually to get kids to eat their meal. It's like, otherwise no dessert.
Exactly.
Yeah. My dad was also, I think it's also English people, we really like sweet things as well. So my dad also, we would always have dessert, whether it was just like ice cream or something small, but there's always something sweet after. And it's become like a habit now. Like when I finish my meal, if there's nothing sweet, I'm like, something's missing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And France has really good desserts too.
That's the best. That's what I miss. Although there's good pastry here.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
I mean, we don't have any sponsors, but which bakery would you recommend? I
mean, there's a bakery next to my place. I don't know the name, but in Songjiang, Nanjing.
Okay, there's a bakery.
A good pastry. Yeah.
Okay, I'll Google it and then I can tell everyone. If it's recommended by a French person, I know it's going to be good. So, what do you think are the biggest differences between France and Taiwan?
I would say the fact that Taiwan is very convenient. Like, I think it's the opposite of France. Here is so convenient. You can go to a convenience store, you can pay your bills, you can like print stuff. It's open 20 hours, like the whole day. Everything is so convenient here, and you know, even the yo-yo cup. Yeah, so convenient. In France, it's so much more complicated. to take the MRT, to pay your bills, to do all of that. that's the main difference. Like practical difference. Yeah.
So if anyone is thinking of going to France, they need to be prepared that they
especially the administration. Be prepared to be patient.
That's true. I had a friend who, I think it was either exchange or she went to study in France, and I think because she only went for 1 year, and 6 months in, she got her resident card. She only had 6 months left.
And I think 6 months is actually okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Fast?
it's actually okay. That's actually fast. Like, yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. I think it's also a Europe thing, though. I always tell my Taiwanese friends, like, everyone's like, oh, it's so nice to work in Europe because, you know, your working hours are shorter and everyone's more relaxed. And I'm like, yeah, but because of that, everything also gets done slower, right? Because you finish work at 5, you're done. So you're not going to finish all your tasks. So,
Exactly.
Life is slower.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's talk about your move to Taiwan. So what made you choose to live in Taiwan? You mentioned that you visited here before.
Yes.
But what was the reason why you wanted to actually live here longer?
So when I was a teenager, I really enjoyed watching like Taiwanese dramas.
Really?
Yeah, I watched a lot of Taiwanese dramas when I was young.
Like which one?
Like I only know the English titles,
It's okay.
but there's like it started with a kids drama.
恶作剧之吻.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also like Fated to Love You.
命中注定我爱你. Oh my god, I love that one. The one on the boat, right?
Yeah, it's so nice. I love this
So
one.
funny.
Also like Autumn's Concerto.
Oh, what's that one called in Chinese? The one with the piano.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name, but I know it.
It was so good. I know the song.
Oh, really? The really romantic one, right?
Yeah. I love this song. Like Devil Beside You.
Oh, well, that's
like,
I love that one.
It was, yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah, a bunch of dramas like that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
How did you discover Taiwanese dramas all the way in France?
Like, I don't know. Just on internet, I think there would be like this community like really likes Asian culture and translate like Korean or Japanese or Taiwanese dramas, and that's how I ended up watching Taiwanese dramas. Actually, I watched Taiwanese dramas before I watched Korean dramas. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it was my first drama, like Asian drama. At first, it was like, because in France we would only have on TV American, usually old American TV shows or sometimes European TV shows, but we wouldn't have Asian TV shows.
Yeah.
That's like now we have Netflix. Like Netflix, it's great, but before we didn't have that. So yeah, I was curious and I watched it and I loved it, and then I started another one and etc.
That's crazy. That's like, honestly, my mind is blown that like, because like I watched those dramas too, but that's because in the summer I would come back to Taiwan, so I would see them on TV. So I'd be like, oh, that one looks interesting, and I write down the name. And when I went back to Holland, I would look it up. But it's crazy to me that with no connection to Taiwan, that you discovered these Taiwanese dramas and that they became famous in France. Like, that's insane to me.
Yeah, and I'm not the only one. Like, I had friends watching Taiwanese dramas too. Like, yeah, like my best friend loves Taiwanese dramas too. Watch also all of the like Taiwanese dramas I just like mentioned.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's gonna be amazing for Taiwanese people to hear that, you know, their TV made it all the way to France. So cool. Okay, so these dramas kind of gave you this idea of Taiwan, and then you visited it. Do you find that living here is the same as what you expected?
So when I came here the first time, so it was maybe 8 years ago, it was much more like different than now, I would say. And the dramas I watched were like maybe older also. So I feel there's definitely a difference, especially maybe the international part of Taiwan that I found is now. Like, it's very like for me easy to speak to in English to people and to get around, even if my Chinese is bad. So
I also think that when I would come to visit Taiwan, like, I don't know, 8 years ago or 10 years ago, I would get stared at on the street because it's so rare to see an international person. But now I think it's so common. People don't even they don't even blink an eye anymore. It's like, oh, another foreigner. Like, yeah, so it's definitely gotten more international over the years, for sure.
Taiwan changed really fast.
That's good to hear as well. Yeah. It's good to hear that as a foreigner coming to Taiwan, you feel like you can still easily move around and live here. And
totally.
That's good. Were there any things you were not used to when you first came to Taiwan? Any like cultural things or?
Not really. Only small things, like maybe the lining. Like I would say maybe in France we're more savages. We would just go, like inside the MRT. We don't line up. We like rarely line up. Only for like buying baguettes. We line up for that, but that's it.
The holy bread is the only time the people line up.
Yeah, but not to go inside MRT. Like we wouldn't line. And also maybe also the garbage system. That's it. Like less bins here, like trash bins.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I would have to like go to the garbage truck. Yeah.
Were you shocked the first time you heard the music? Like
the music. Also, there's music everywhere in the MRT. Trash. Yeah, but I love it. But I like in France it's like just silent. Just the woman talking in the MRT, like the train is coming and that's it. But that's nice to have like music. It relaxes you. I love it. Yeah, especially the music in the red line.
Oh, yeah, because every line has a different song, right? I can't remember the red line one.
It's the most relaxing one.
The classical one.
Yeah, so relaxing. Feel like you're going to a spa. Like,
wow.
That kind of music.
Okay, interesting. I wonder, I have no idea who started that or how, but I wonder.
That was a great idea. I think maybe French people need that to relax more because we're too stressed out. Yeah.
Especially in Paris, I feel.
Yeah, especially in Paris.
So you probably have a lot of friends back in France who have not visited Taiwan yet. How would you describe Taiwan to them?
I would say like it's a very interesting, although for some reason I don't know why, unknown country. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of potential, and it's a country where you can like from the capital you can see mountains, you can go to the beach. So that's also very relaxing kind of country. I feel so much more relaxed here compared to France, because in France if you want to go to the beach you have to take a train for so long. It's not in Paris, but and also a place where people are more relaxed. Like people are so much more cooler.
Really?
Here, calm. Yeah, really. Like it's the opposite in France.
That's funny because people who live in the countryside, well, I say countryside, basically anywhere outside of Taipei or like outside the big cities, they all think that people in Taipei are super stressed and super like...
Really? Oh my god. Don't come to Paris. It would be a shock. Like, yeah. No. Here, for me as a French person, like even in Taipei, people are so relaxed. So I don't know if it's the weather, the fact that the weather is really good here, very like hot but good. So many good drinks, cheap food. Taiwan is great. Yeah, I recommend it to my friends.
That's really great. That's so nice to hear. Obviously, I also always sometimes complain about about certain things, mainly the heat, because I really cannot stand the heat in the summer. But for the rest, I think it's like you said, it's one of those. It's a hidden country to many people. But slowly in the past few years, I've had more and more friends tell me like, hey, I'm coming to Taiwan. And I'm like, what? Why? And they're like, oh, someone recommended it to us. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So it's definitely growing, I think, in the world, which is exciting. So another place that I think is really interesting to talk about, I personally have never been there, but I know lots of people are really interested, especially in Taiwan. But what did you do when you were in Korea?
So I was there as an exchange student. So I've studying like Korean studies. I was in the Korean university, attending class with Korean people. I didn't understand anything at that time.
It was all in Korean?
Yeah, it was only me, and like thankfully I had a friend coming from the same university. But we would like stay in the same.
There's no English courses, or?
There were very few. Very few. Yeah.
Wow.
It was so hard. But I loved it.
That's why your Korean is so good then.
Maybe.
You were forced to
Yes.
study in it.
Yeah.
Wow. What was that like? Like, is it like the Korean dramas?
Yes. I mean, like dramas kind of film the reality, I think. I mean, yeah.
Okay, interesting. What did you like about living in Korea?
So I was there as a student, and had much more younger. What I really love in Korea is the fact that as a student you can do so much things to have fun, to really stress. There's so much, there's karaoke's, there's a place where you can play baseball alone, that kind of place.
The batting cages?
Yeah, exactly. There's so much to do as a young person in Korea. That's why I really loved. Yeah, and
it's a really lively place.
Very lively, very young place.
And you were in Seoul, right? The capital?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Did you get to travel around Korea?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I heard they also have really beautiful nature sites too.
They do. Especially in Jeju. I went to Jeju, the island in the south of South Korea. I loved it. Yeah.
Did you go to the border of North and South Korea?
I did.
What was that like?
It was very strange. It's very strange because it's very quiet. It's so quiet, and you can feel the tension when you go there.
You can't?
You can.
Oh, you can.
You can feel the tension.
Okay.
And also when you go there, you have to book a tour, which is kind of managing by, I guess, the military, because it's a war zone. So and they will tell you it's dangerous, all right? You might not come home, just in case. You have to sign a paper.
Really?
Yeah.
You have to sign a paper saying you might not come home?
I mean, you have to sign a paper agreeing that you're going to a dangerous place, and that you shouldn't do
don't do anything crazy.
Exactly, because it's not to have fun. It's a serious place where you're going. And so you're in that environment, and you can usually the tour would bring you to this station, train station, which I think would link North Korea to South Korea.
So wait, there are actually trains that go from north to south?
They know, but it's the train station exists, but there's no train, and so you can see the rail and going a little bit and stopping at some point. And that's very strange. That's a very strange feeling. But I do recommend 100%. You have to go there, and also you can also see a North Korean town. Although you have to go. You have to go. That's why I don't want to spoil anything.
Despite the risks.
You have to go. But I mean, there's no risk. Unless you do something stupid.
So if you just stay calm and follow their instructions.
Yeah, and when you when on the news sometimes you see the place where there's meetings and North Korean delegates and South Korean delegates go to sign agreements and stuff. Do you know that place? And there's the line.
Yeah.
Obviously don't cross it.
Yeah.
But some stupid people do.
Okay.
So that's why they tell you not to. Yeah.
Right. Because then they risk getting shot probably. If they cross the line.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So just don't cross the line. Follow the instructions.
Exactly.
And then it's worth visiting.
Yeah, it's worth.
What was different about living in Korea compared to living in France and Taiwan, I guess?
I would say the compared to France, mostly it's the safety. I really felt safe in Korea compared to France.
Interesting.
So but I feel safe here too. I don't know if it's because there's cameras everywhere, so that people behave better because they might be caught doing something crazy. But in Paris, because also on the car you cannot it's not mandatory to have the black box, the camera in the cars.
Oh right, yeah, the what are those called, surveillance kind of.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas I think here it's mandatory.
I don't know if it's mandatory, but everyone has them.
Everyone has them. In Korea it's the same, and there's also cameras everywhere. In Korea and in here I've never been talked by a strange guy, for instance. Never. But I mean, it probably happens sometimes. But compared to France, Paris, where every day you would if you go to certain places in Paris, you would feel unsafe.
So anyone who is thinking of going to Paris should still be careful and.
Yeah, be careful of your stuff. There's some thieves obviously, but also be careful as a woman. Like going out in the night, be careful as a woman for sure, yeah.
Bring some pepper spray.
Yes.
And so the last thing I want to talk to you about, because you've moved to Korea and you moved to Taiwan, and both times pretty much on your own, kind of, I would say. What do you think are the biggest challenges of moving to a new place?
For sure is to meet friends. It's the biggest challenge. Especially because when you're in a foreign country, you have nobody. You're really alone. You don't have family, so you have to make friends. Otherwise, you would not enjoy your time there. So that's the biggest challenge.
How did you overcome that challenge?
So I decided to rent a room with roommates. And like, although it's risky because you don't know who you're going to end up with, I do recommend it because you naturally talk to people and meet people.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did it now, especially because of COVID.
Right.
Because I couldn't meet people otherwise.
Yeah.
But there's also some apps like I've been using Bumble BFF.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot.
Yeah, and that's how we met. So so when you go to a foreign country, you have to go out of your comfort zone to meet people so that you would really enjoy your time. That's the hardest part.
I think that's really good advice. So like, you have to step out of your comfort zone. You have to just try and go to an event or have coffee with someone, even though it might be scary. Or obviously take precautions. You don't want to like get catfished, but you know, if you take the right precautions and take the right steps, it is possible to make friends. So.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our last two questions. So these are the questions that I ask all my guests.
Yes.
The first one is, so we have a lot of Taiwanese people who want to learn English. So what do you think would be your biggest tip for learning English, or actually any language? Because since you've also learned Korean, what tips do you think were useful to learning a language?
Well, for me, like learning English and also other languages, for sure was listening to music. Yes, because when you listen to music that you like, you would like naturally learn the lyrics, you know, because you love the music. And like I learned so many vocabulary thanks to music. So if you're learning a new language, try to listen to a different variety of music with different vocabulary so that you can, and try to look at the lyrics and learn them. That helped me a lot.
I love that. I love when people use music or TV or something. I think it's such a natural way to learn. So
yeah,
that's great. Did you also listen to K-pop then to learn Korean?
Some K-pop, but you know, like, cause when I was a teenager, I would watch like Korean TV shows and the music on the soundtracks. I would more listen to the soundtracks, so more like ballads kind of music. Yeah, that's what I like more.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because also if you're watching the dramas and the song plays again and again,
it
usually
gets to you. That's why I still know some songs from Taiwanese dramas, although like it's been more than 10 years. Like it's stuck in my head.
Yeah, brainwashed you. The last question: if you could say one thing to Taiwanese people in general, what would it be?
I would say like Taiwanese culture is very attractive, and that's why I was attracted to it. And when I tell people that I watched Taiwanese TV shows when I was younger, everybody is surprised. But for me, it's not surprising, you know. So I would say like, know that your culture is very interesting, very attractive, and that's why foreigners come here, and that's why more foreigners will come here and be interested in Taiwan.
So be proud. Be proud.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. Be proud of being Taiwanese.
I like that. That's really nice. I think, a lot of Taiwanese people always want to go to Europe, to America, and they always think, wow, you know, other cultures are so great. But actually, Taiwanese culture has a lot of really, really good things too.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you so much for your time today, Sarah.
Thank you for inviting me.
我问 Sarah 的第一个问题是，对于法国人的一些刻板印象，哪一些是真的，哪一些是假的？他说他其实不确定有哪些刻板印象，所以他还特地去 Google 了有哪一些。他说他第一个查到的是法国人都一定会戴 beret 贝雷帽。他说这其实不是真的，他说可能有一些 比如说时尚人啊才会去戴，平常的法国人不太会去戴这个。另外一个他说他看到的是法国人都会拿这个长棍面包走来走去，他说这个是真的，因为他们真的很爱吃长棍面包。另外一个是法国人很爱喝酒，就是红酒，他说这也是真的，红酒跟白酒法国人特别爱喝这两个。然后他说有另外一个是法国人都很没有礼貌，他说他觉得这个不是真的，他说他觉得法国人只是很直接，他们不会去隐瞒自己的想法，他们有什么想讲的他们就会讲，他们不会特别婉转的去解释，所以他觉得可能只是外国人会觉得不习惯，或是会觉得说你怎么可以直接这样讲，但这只是他们的文化，他觉得这不一定代表他们是没有礼貌。他说其实他们有一些礼貌上的规则，比如说你进去一家店，或是你到一个电梯里面，就算你不认识里面的人，你也一定要打招呼，就是进去的时候还要说 hello。 我说这个的确台湾人绝对不会做，因为我说我进电梯旁边人通常都是就是连眼神都不能对到，然后大家就是各走各的。但是他说在法国这是不礼貌的行为，所以他说他一进电梯他一定会说 hello。 那他有发现说台湾人比较不会打招呼，所以他一开始也是有点不习惯，所以他说他觉得这就是文化差异的一些地方。我跟他说我觉得其实欧洲人都是比较直接的一个文化，那可能亚洲人遇到的时候比较不习惯，因为他们会觉得说，我觉得亚洲人比较怕讲错话，或是会怕得罪别人。他就说法国人绝对不是，法国人完全不怕得罪别人。接下来我就问他说住在巴黎到底是什么样的感觉。我说去年Emily in Paris 这部影集出来的时候，很多人都觉得哇巴黎好棒哦。我就问他说真的像那个影里面一样的感觉吗？他说其实住在巴黎就是要每天搭一个很臭然后很挤的一个捷运，然后他说在外面不可能真的穿高跟鞋，他说巴黎的路都是石头路，所以其实很不平，所以变成说你真的要穿高跟鞋的话其实很难走路，所以他说这一点他觉得 Emily in Paris 就是形容的不是很好。但是他说的确是一个很有文化的一个城市，有很多展览啊，很多博物馆。另外一个他们有拍的比较真实一面，就是他们有很多广场，大家会坐在外面喝酒啊聊天啊，他说这个的确是真的。我就说我觉得这感觉很棒，可能就是下了班然后跟同事或是跟朋友聚在一起，然后在外面坐着喝杯咖啡喝杯酒，看看外面的景，我觉得这是一件很棒的事情。他说他的确很怀念法国的这方面。下一个问题是法国的食物，因为法国其实也是美食出了名，我就问他说他觉得这是真的吗？他就说 1000% true， 他说他完全同意这一点。我说那他觉得法国的美食有什么特别？他说首先他觉得法国有很多很有名的甜点啊点心类的这种食物，他觉得法国做得很好。那另外一个是法国餐一定有好几道菜，而且他们的好几道菜不是像亚洲这种文化就是一起上，他们的要一道一道的上，所以它有一个特别的顺序。那他说通常出去吃饭一定会有至少3道，可能就是前菜、主菜跟甜点，至少会有3个。他说特别节日可能还会有5个啊6个啊，就是加水果啊什么 cheese 啊，就是各种不同道菜，所以他觉得这个是一个法国才有比较厉害的地方。那我就问他说，那如果我今天要请法国人来家里吃饭，那我是不是一定也要有3道菜？他就说也不一定啦，但是他说他建议大家如果有要邀请法国人到家里吃饭，至少要准备甜点，因为法国人非常重视甜点。我就说那如果一样你要去法国人家吃饭，可能要心理准备会有好几道菜，除了要吃比较多以外还要吃比较久，因为你要一道一道的上菜，所以他说会吃比较久。但他很喜欢这样的吃法，这样我以后就只想要交法国的朋友，这样每次都可以吃到好多好特别的东西，又可以吃到甜点。他说的确法国的甜点真的很厉害，你会变成习惯吃完饭会想吃甜点。我说我们家其实也是，因为我爸也喜欢吃甜点，所以我们以前就是吃完饭一定会吃个甜食，所以到现在其实长大后我也会有这个习惯。接下来我就问他说他觉得法国跟台湾最大的差异是什么？他说他觉得就是台湾非常非常方便，他说你可以在便利商店缴费啊印东西啊，连悠游卡都很方便，你要搭捷运什么都超方便。他说在法国绝对不是这样，他说再加上法国办事情非常慢，你要有心理准备，要很有耐心。 我就跟他讲一个例子，我曾经有个朋友要去法国交换1年，然后他去了法国6个月之后，他才拿到他的居留证，所以他其实那时候已经剩6个月了，他才拿到他的居留证。然后 Sarah 就说对，没错，就是这样，而且他觉得6个月已经算快了，所以你们可以想象在法国办事情是有多慢，所以你们就可以知道说台湾其实做事情非常快，非常有效率，很棒。我就说其实我觉得欧洲的生活就是这样，很多人会跟我说欧洲生活好棒哦，大家都可以很轻松啊，提早下班啊，都不用加班等等，好像过得很轻松很舒服。但同时因为大家过得很轻松舒服，所以办事情啊做事情都会花非常久的时间，很没有效率。所以我觉得这是大家要有心理准备的地方。下一个问题我问他的是，为什么当初会选择要来台湾住？他说他年轻的时候，少女的时候很喜欢看，没错，你没有听错，台湾的偶像剧，是不是很酷呢？我还问他说他看了哪些，他还可以用英文告诉我那些名字。他看了《恶作剧之吻》、《命中注定我爱你》、《下一站幸福》，还有《恶魔在身边》等等之类的偶像剧。我就跟他说，我觉得这件事情真的很厉害。我说我是因为一半的台湾人，所以我暑假来台湾，我可能会看到这些偶像剧。那回到荷兰，我就会去上网查这些剧。但他是一个完全跟台湾没有连接的一个人，他却可以看到台湾的偶像剧，我觉得真的很厉害。他说其实有很多人在法国在看这些亚洲剧，就是韩剧啊、日剧、台湾剧的都有。他说会有一群人在网络上特别去找这些剧，然后特别去翻译成法文让他们可以看。他身边有很多朋友也有看台湾的偶像剧，就是他刚刚讲的那些。我听到的时候真的觉得很震撼，台湾的偶像剧竟然可以红到法国，是不是真的很强？因为以前 Sarah 是先来台湾玩，之后才住在台湾，我就问他说他觉得来玩跟住有没有什么差别。他说他第一次来台湾玩的时候是8年前，他觉得跟现在其实差蛮多。以前他觉得台湾没有这么的国际化，他觉得现在其实外国人来台湾除了很方便，还可以很容易沟通，也可以到处去玩，他觉得不会遇到太多的语言障碍等等，而且他觉得现在的外国人也比较多。我觉得这是一件很棒的事情，毕竟我觉得以后越来越多外国人愿意来台湾的话，台湾也会变得更国际化，大家也都有机会可以认识更多的不同国家的人。那我问他说他来台湾住的时候有没有遇到什么不习惯的事情。他说他不习惯的是排队。他说法国人很不喜欢排队，特别是搭捷运啊等等，他们都是用冲的，不太会排队。他说他觉得台湾人都很棒，就是会乖乖排队。他说法国人唯一愿意排队东西就是买面包，因为这个是很隆重的一件事情，所以只有这个时候他们才会排队，其他时间绝对不会。另外一件事情他不习惯的是台湾的收垃圾的方法。他说他发现就是外面的垃圾桶比较少，而且他还要追垃圾车，他觉得这件事情很奇怪，所以他一开始也是不太习惯。最后一个他说的是他发现到处都有音乐，等捷运的时候有音乐，垃圾车也有音乐，但他觉得这点很棒，他很喜欢。而且他说很多捷运里面的音乐都是很轻松很让人觉得舒服的音乐，他觉得很像是去做三温暖的感觉，所以他觉得很放松。他觉得巴黎应该也要播这些音乐，他说他觉得巴黎人都压力很大，所以搞不好可以放这些音乐，可以让大家就是回家的路上啊，上班的路上都可以比较轻松的心情。我问他说你会怎么对法国的朋友形容台湾这个国家？他说他觉得台湾是一个很有趣却很低调的国家，好像很多人都没有来过台湾，也没有听过台湾，但是他觉得很可惜，因为其实有很多很棒的地方。他说你在这个大都市里面，你还可以看到山，你还离海边很近，他说这是一件很舒服很放松的事情。他觉得这边的人也比较放松，过得比较舒服。他说法国是完全相反，他觉得法国人就是压力很大，然后每个人都是可能心情比较不好啊等等。我就跟他说我觉得这件事情很好笑，因为 如果你问台湾人，台北以外的台湾人，他们都会说他们觉得台北人就是压力很大，然后可能很匆匆忙忙的。但是他听到这个的时候很惊讶，他说哈，台湾没有任何人，他觉得没有任何一个地方是让他觉得就是很混乱或是很压力很大的一个地方。他说如果你们觉得台北就是压力很大的地方，他觉得你们去到法国一定会吓到。他说你会觉得天哪，怎么巴黎的人都这么压力这么大，所以他都会推荐台湾给他的朋友们，他觉得台湾是一个很棒的一个地方。之后我们就开始聊到他在韩国的这段时间，他说他那时候是去交换，然后他的课几乎都是用韩文上课。我说他这样真的很厉害，就是可以用韩文上课学习。他说一开始很痛苦，但的确让他学到很多。我问他说韩国的生活真的跟韩剧很像吗？他说他觉得有一点像。他说他很喜欢韩国的生活，是因为他觉得以年轻人来讲，他觉得韩国有很多可以玩的地方，无论是唱歌啊，或是出去玩啊，运动啊，他觉得是一个很活泼的城市，所以他觉得很适合年轻人去住。我很好奇的问他说他有没有去南北韩非军事区。他说有，而且他觉得很有趣。他说你去到那边的时候，你就会有一种这个气氛真的很严肃的感觉，而且如果你想去参观的话，你是跟着军部去参观，所以变成说他们会在那之前提醒你，就是你要去到一个很危险的地方。他说他们上面还写说你可能不会回来。我就说这么恐怖，你不会觉得这个风险好像很大？他说其实还好，因为他觉得他们一定要告诉你这些，是因为有一些地方的确他会有一些规则，例如说不要条线，或者不要做出一些很蠢的行为。他说但是有一些人就是会故意想要去跨过那条线啊，或怎么样，但是其实如果你做这些行为真的很危险，而且可能真的会被抓，或是被关起来，或是更恐怖的事情。所以他就说他们一定要告诉你这些事情，但是只要你乖乖的就是照着他们的规则，然后听他们的话，然后不要做出一些蠢事情。他说其实是一个很有趣的经验。他说例如说在那边你会看到一个火车站，但是那个火车站其实已经没有人在用，因为毕竟没有人会从南韩坐火车到北韩嘛，所以你会看到一个轨道，就是好像到一个地方就突然停下来。他说这些画面真的很有趣，虽然会有一个很奇怪的感觉，但他真的很推荐大家可以去，但是就是不要做一些蠢事，然后乖乖听他们的规则。我问他说他觉得韩国跟法国最大的差别是什么？他说他觉得他在韩国感觉到非常的安心，他觉得这边很安全。他说他觉得台湾也是，治安都非常好。他说他觉得可能是因为到处都有摄影机，无论是马路上啊，或是车上，大家都会装那个监视器，所以他觉得大家的行为可能都比较安全，就是不会做出一些太危险或太恐怖的事情。如果你要去巴黎的话，可能要有心理准备，那边的治安跟台湾或是韩国比起来还是会稍微差了一点。他说特别是女生的话，一个人晚上走路的话一定要非常小心，因为可能还是会有陌生人想要接近你，所以我就说要准备一些简单的武器可以放在身上。听了他的这么多的故事，他去过这么多的新环境，我问 Sarah 说你觉得去到一个新的环境最大的挑战是什么？他觉得是交朋友。他说毕竟你去到一个新的环境的时候，真的是新环境，你没有认识任何人，你也没有家人在身边等等，所以他说你一定要交一些好朋友，因为如果你真的完全一个人的话，其实很容易会觉得寂寞，或是没有办法好好享受这段时间。所以他很推荐大家一定要努力的去跨出舒适圈，去认识新的人。我问他说有没有什么方法他觉得可以推荐给大家。他说第一个是他一定会找室友，就是他住的地方一定会找室友，这样他就可以很自然的认识朋友。当然他说你不知道你会跟谁住，但是至少你应该可以交到一些新的朋友，或者认识新的人。另外一个就是软体，他说其实有一些交友软体真的很棒，你可以去真的是交朋友，不一定是找情人或是异性。像我们会认识 Sarah 也就是因为透过一个 app 叫 Bumble BFF， 所以其实有很多方法可以让你去认识新的人，但是你一定要跨出舒适圈，愿意去挑战这件事情。到了结尾，我就问了 Sarah 我问每一个来宾的问题。第一个就是对于想学一个新的语言的人有哪一些建议。他说他很建议大家可以去听音乐， 他说因为你会很自然的去背那个歌，背那一首歌，还会去背歌词，那你可以去听各种音乐，然后再去看歌词，去学里面的单字。他说他很多单字都是从歌里面学来的。最后我就问他有没有什么话想跟台湾人说。他说他想告诉台湾人，就是台湾的文化真的很吸引人。他说只要他讲到他以前有看台湾的偶像剧，大家都会很惊讶，但他觉得为什么要惊讶？台湾的偶像剧就很棒啊，而且他觉得台湾有很多很棒的地方，但是大家好像都会觉得台湾还好，所以他觉得他想要告诉大家，就是台湾真的是一个很棒的一个地方，而且很有趣，所以才会有很多外国人想要来到这边，所以他希望大家 be proud， 就是当一个骄傲的台湾人，以你的国家为荣，因为他觉得台湾真的很棒。今天的访谈真的好有趣，我真的听了好多很精彩的故事，我觉得我到现在都还在惊讶中，他竟然看了台湾的偶像剧，而且是我看的那些，我相信应该是很多台湾人都有看的那些偶像剧，真的好惊讶。而且我觉得听了他的这么多故事，更想要出国再去看看一些地方，而且我觉得好怀念法国的面包哦，真的好想吃，又想交一些法国朋友去吃很多不同的法式甜点，还有韩国的经验，我觉得真的很有趣，我觉得我以后也想要找个机会去韩国玩玩看。希望你们也有听到一些你们觉得很有趣的事情，有的话可以在 Instagram 上标签我，让我知道你觉得哪一件事情最有趣，或者你学到了哪些事情，可以 tag 我 Teacher Lydia Languages。 另外记得订阅这个音频，也可以到 YouTube 去看我们的影片的片段。最后如果你可以分享这个音频给你身边的朋友，或是帮我们留言或打5颗星，我真的会很开心。I had so much fun filming this interview, and I learned so much from Sarah. It really made me miss French bread as well and French desserts. I definitely want to make more French friends. It was also really interesting to hear her experiences about watching Taiwanese dramas, which I still think is incredible that Taiwanese dramas made it all the way to France. And of course, her experience in Korea was so interesting. I definitely want to add it to my list of places to visit once the pandemic is over. I hope you enjoyed the interview too. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. You can also let me know on Instagram, tell me what you learned or what your favorite part of the interview was. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook, Teacher Lydia Languages. It would also mean so much to me if you could share this podcast to your friends. You can also leave us a comment or give us a 5-star rating. It would mean so much to me. 谢谢你今天收听这一集访谈，我们下次见咯。Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.